What's up everybody, Soul here with the Mewgenics video here for your viewing pleasure, and today we're going to be talking about Hunter. That's right, this class is phenomenal. I know a lot of people are posting, they're kind of struggling with some content, they're having a hard time. RNG is a big thing, but I'm going to give you some insight and a couple things you can do to get past some of this content and really just railroad and cheese content even if you get these builds down packed. Of course, RNG is a thing, but moving on, let's get right into it. So Hunter, let's talk about first heavy shot. So of course our abilities are random. We don't know what we're gonna get, but let's say you pull back that cat and you see you've got that heavy shot. You've got a big item pool, you name it. Here is the spread. Of course, heavy shot is 10 damage, 4 mana cost, so it's not really expensive, and when you upgrade it, it increases its range and it gets a bonus to 50% critical hit. The problem with heavy shot is that it's a 70% chance to miss. Well, there's quite a few items and abilities that really help you work around that, and so that's what we've got right here on the screen. As you can see, I've got them all listed here and I've got them rated. Of course, the number one thing that I'm going to suggest to you is, of course, Monocle. That is an item that you can find, you can store it, you can run it multiple times, you name it. This thing is absolutely busted. Covet this thing if you get it. It is S tier for sure. Gives a +1 to charisma and your physical attacks cannot miss. That's right, with this item they cannot miss. So you can use heavy shot all day long and land those hits, and holy guacamole, as you can see in the background of that infograph, man, 28 damage right there, and I'm just pinging them. It's 4 freaking mana. I'm pinging them. I'm spamming it. It's so good. It's unbelievable. Of course, second up, there is a trait or a passive you can pick up that allows you to do the same thing, and that is Bullseye. Also S tier, of course, and that is a +25% crit, and then of course that your range attacks cannot miss. So you're spamming, once again, that heavy shot with no remorse, no regard, no fear. It's too good. And then there's another item that allows us to get those guaranteed hits, and that is the Miner's Hat, or Miner Hat. And so that gives a +4 to shields. Physical attacks cannot miss with this item on, and yeah, it's S tier for that reason. Absolutely phenomenal. Busted. Heavy shots all day long. It allows you to invest into your dexterity, your luck, whatever, and you're going to get tons of big damage. I can't say it enough. I soloed basically Guillotina with two hunters using these builds I'm going to show you here. So, and of course heavy shot being one of them. I just totally chunked HP in a matter of 3 rounds, and I've got content on that. Make sure you check out the video. I actually was running that on one of my videos I posted last night. Really good stuff. Moving on, you've got marked, and so marked is A tier, and so that's what you're going to do is you're going to mark your opponent or a opponent, and you're going to get a +100% crit for that enemy, and then of course it ignores armor, and those attacks made on that enemy cannot miss. The downside of this is it's a separate cast. That's the only downside. Where it comes from, what happens, that's fine, but that's the only downside of this, is you're going to have that mark placed before you take the shot. And then the same thing is true of Persistent Hunt. Persistent Hunt is the same thing, A tier, requires a cast, but it inflicts marked 5. So that's 5 stacks of marked. Really decent stuff right there. So that's the difference between those two. And then of course you've got the radar dish. This is an item that you can pick up. I believe it's a trinket. Regardless, it inflicts marked randomly, and so that makes it B tier. It's not consistent, but it does get those marks out and allows you to get those crits and to get those attacks off. And so that's less of choice, you know, you name it, this, that, and the third. The last one that I'm going to mention on this build is Horse Blinders. This is 100% accuracy and 50% crit if you can find this headpiece. Really good stuff. The only issue is it limits your shots to a straight line. Now I've used these a decent amount for whatever reason. I've come across several of them and it's fun, but it's really tough to be situationally aware at all times and to constantly be placed in the right place. You'll go whole rounds where you only get like the one shot off or pick on the one enemy that you didn't necessarily want, or you're just limited to it, whatever the case may be. That's tough. And so that makes it a C tier in my mind. and less of an important item. Still good, don't get me wrong. And then of course there's other synergies and things you can do. This is just what I'm recommending. If you happen to come across these items or these abilities, that it's going to allow you to lean into that with that hunter shot, that heavy shot, you name it. These are things you want to target when you have that heavy shot. Now, moving on, let's talk about the next build for Hunter, and that is Mothers, Hunter Mothers, as I've titled it right here, where maybe you start out with the trait either Brood Mother or Tainted Mother. And so these are really good traits right here, where you have a Charmed Familiar with the Brood Mother, gets a +2 to damage and a +5 to HP, and then of course when it's upgraded they get a +3 to damage and a +10 to HP, and then their attacks inflict poison. Really good stuff there from the Brood Mother. And then with the Tainted Mother, your Charmed Familiar or Familiar units then get a 4 speed, and they inflict poison and or bleed. And then of course when it's upgraded they get 4 speed still, they inflict that poison and bleed the same, but you start with 4 fly familiars. These are really good traits, and so this can give you a good indication that you should run the familiar build on these cats if you have these passives available to you, or you pick them up early, whatever the case may be. And so when you're planning your run, you've got these items on deck, or these abilities you come across, whatever the case may be, you should definitely hone in on them. And that is right here, Flea Shot, S tier with this all day long. Flea Shot does 2 damage, costs 6 mana, so you can spam it fairly easily. It's fairly inexpensive. And then what it does is it shoots a flea at a unit, does a little bit of damage, and spawns one of your familiars. Really good stuff. If you compound that with the Bouncing Shot, holy guacamole, really good stuff right there. Because then you're going to be able to spawn multiple fleas for those shots, and that's a huge deal. Now, moving on, the Spawn Pooter, what a word, right? Pooter. You spawn Pooter, that's S tier as well, costs 1 mana. What? You can spam that. So if you have one of the mother traits and you're spamming this, you're in for it. Like you can spam that each round. That's crazy. And then of course it spawns a Pooter. If you upgrade it, it allows you to spawn 2 of them. So that's bonkers. Definitely S tier all day long. If you happen to come across this, lean into it and grab it. For me, I don't know about all y'all, Mewgenics is fairly kind. If I'm running something, the RNG kind of seems to favor that and encourages me to go that way. Seldom do I come across things that just don't work or synergize my build at all. There's usually always an option. With that said, moving on, the Hunter's Cap. Now this is an item you can store and put up, and then you can save for those runs when you have these particular passives and such. And this is an amazing item right here, where it gives a +1 to luck, and then all of your familiars gain a +1 to all stats. That's great. That's more health, that's more movement, that's more damage, that's more luck, more crit, that's everything. So really good stuff right there. Phenomenal item, like I said, S tier. Next is an ability that you can get. Maybe down the line you come across it and you're not sure what to grab. This is a decent item to have, or an option, and that is the Slop the Pigs. And what that does is each familiar gains all stat ups and heals for 4 HP. And of course it helps your other units too, where other units heal for 2 HP and they gain 1 Constitution. Really decent stuff. I could say this is like A tier. This is something that is not on high, you know, like you have to have it, must have, but it's definitely a nice thing to have. Very beneficial. Next is the Steel Ball, and so this is what it does. Is an item. It allows you to summon an invulnerable fly familiar once per battle, and this thing is phenomenal. I mean, invulnerable, right? Like, doesn't get better than that. And so the only problem with it is it's only once, and you only get the 1. That's the downside. So that makes it A tier. Still really good, decent stuff. Would be great to have. And then of course, moving on, we got the Hunter's Flute. This once again is a once per battle. Problem with this too is it's random familiars and they spawn adjacently to your character. But other than that, you're spawning 2 of them. This is a decent item. It's B tier in my mind. And then next is the Petrified Poop. And so that comes in, gosh, this is silly stuff, right? I laugh because I said poop. It's a +2 to shields for your cat that's wearing it, and then familiars gain a +2 on their shields as well. This is B tier because the benefit that it gives isn't like huge, it isn't game breaking, it's just a small perk or benefit. And with that said, there's a ton of items and synergies that you could add to this to make it better and enhance it. I just didn't want to go through and list them all, because when it comes to summoning and familiars and all that, there's actually a huge amount of items. Like there's an egg that gives you a 10% chance to spawn a fetus that you have control of, and options. So really good stuff, really good stuff. That is the Hunter Mothers. If you're able to target these things and to put these things together, you will have a nasty build that will take you far in a run easily. Next is the Hunter Wildling, as I call it. Really fun stuff. And this is where we're playing off of brambles or terrain effects, tile effects. We're targeting brambles and glass. And so what that is if you happen to have the hazardous trait or perk, passive, whatever you want to call it, passive, you get tile damage and effects are doubled. Really good stuff right there. And then of course when it upgrades, all allies are immune to tile damage and effects. That's pretty great. That's pretty phenomenal. And then another one that I would definitely try to build off of for this as well is Bramble Shot. And what that does is it fires a shot and spawns brambles in an area. And of course upgraded, it then spawns brambles in a large area. If you have either one of these, it's amazing. You go for this and try to build this build. If you have both of these, S++. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. S++ instantly. You don't even need anything else. But let's look down at the key items and abilities that maybe you want to pick up along the way or consider having as an alternative. And so looking down here, first up is the Magic Seed. That allows your basic attacks to become bramble tiles. Wherever your basic attack goes, that tile then becomes a bramble tile. Really, really good stuff. That removes water, that removes ice, you name it. Really good stuff. Absolutely love it. And then of course you're getting the bonus damage if you have hazardous. Really, really strong. Now you couple that Magic Seed, which is an accessory by the way. You couple that Magic Seed with your with a trait Tower Defense, Split Shot, or I think it's what it's called, or Bouncing Shot. S tier, S plus all day long, because then you're creating multiple brambles, easily getting multiple shots out and per round. Really, really good stuff, doing lots of damage. Next is Summon Brambles, and so this is S tier as well, and this allows you to summon brambles on any tile on the map. Really, really good stuff. And then if you upgrade that, it becomes an area effect, so it's even bigger. Really, really good stuff right there. Next, after that is the Bloody Bag of Glass. This is S tier all day long, because it's where you're going to be throwing a projectile to create a glass tile. Really good stuff. Nice. You're able to use it once per round, so you can spam it. You can put it out there, put them where you want. With that said, next is the Broken Mirror. This gives a +4 to shields, a -7 to luck, but a +3 to bleed thorns. But your basic attacks then will now inflict bleed and also spawn glass. So just like Magic Seed, this couples really, really well with Defense Tower, Split Shot, Bouncing Shot. Really, really good stuff. That minus luck is harsh, but I still feel it's worthy of the S tier because of how you're being able to create those glass tiles. That's the important thing. You're not going for the big damage off the shot itself with this build. You're going for the shot with the damage through the terrain. That's what you want to do. So you want to create as much terrain as possible, make it inhospitable for your enemies, allies, your enemies, and that way they're dying just trying to get to you. Now, honorable mention here, there is the shot for the archer where they can bounce the ball, or I think it's called bounce shot actually. Regardless, maybe it's bounce ball, I don't know, I'm going to pull it up, I'll put it up on the screen right here. Regardless, that's going to allow you to move enemies and so on and so forth. This easily fits this build. It's not on my infograph right here, but man, if you can pick this up too along the way, make sure you do, because it's going to do a ton for you in moving your opponents, which of course you have other cats on the run. You know, maybe you're not running solo, and so you're going to be able to do more in other ways to move your opponents and push them on the grass, regardless, or glass, terrain, you name it. Moving on, we've got Shards. This is an A tier ability right here where you're basically shooting a projectile that spawns glass. Of course, really good stuff. We want to spawn glass. We want to do as much damage as we can and do a bunch of that. And so this is a decent ability. You can kind of spam it, but it's just creating one tile, and that's it. When it upgrades, it just creates more bleed. It doesn't create more area, so it's only A tier in my mind. Then comes Glass Cannon, fixed. And so what that does is it shoots a glass ball anywhere. Really good stuff. This item is hard to come by. It's post a quest. No spoilers, I'm not going to throw it out there. But you're required to finish a quest, and then you can get access to this. And so once you get access to this, you're going to be able to use this to create, like I said, a glass tile anywhere once per turn. Really good stuff. Decent for that reason. A tier. Not any lower, but no better, in my opinion. Then comes brambles. And so this makes you not only immune to brambles, but it also spawns brambles adjacent to the character with this equipped, and then it gives a +1 to thorns. Really good stuff. The only issue I have with it is you're only spawning them adjacently. I'm not really worried about being immune to thorns or spawning them adjacently. I just want to send them out with my hunter and keep the enemy well away. I don't want them to be that close. So this makes this B tier in my mind, but it's still very decent. And then the last item that I'm going to throw on here, which of course, like I said, there's a ton in the game. There's more out there, is Bag of Seeds. And so this item right here spawns grass, flowers, or brambles adjacently. It's random. And so that's the problem with this. That's why it's D tier. You know, you're going to use it. You don't know what you're going to get. But you get an opportunity to do it each round. It is what it is. If you get brambles, cool. But then even still, it's just adjacent. So whatever. That's not really optimal on the hunter. So that makes it D tier. Still really good stuff. You tell me what you think. These are 3 builds. The 3 ways to play hunter where I have found tremendous joy. I have used the hunter wildling and the hunter heavy shot builds to absolutely destroy content. I ran them together against Guillotine Fight 2, which I don't want any spoilers or anything like that, but just understand, like, it was a cakewalk. It was a cakewalk. Not that those fights are insanely hard or anything, but it really trivialized it. And so these builds are nutty. Of course there's more in the game, and you start getting in like the mutations and you're creating dinosaurs and dragons and aliens. It's not even Mewgenics anymore. Like, what are you playing? You know what I mean? Like, what? It doesn't matter anymore. But if you're like, you know, enjoying the game, early game, mid game, whatever, and you're trying to figure out different builds and you're growing, you're getting up to that point, these are some things that'll really help you out to get further and to find some success in the game. I hope it helps you. Drop down in the comments. Tell me, did I miss anything? Is there anything that I should add that I didn't mention? You tell me. I know you guys know a lot about the game, and I'm sure there's something I've missed. With that said, if you think I'm worthy of the like and subscribe, make sure you drop it. It really helps me out. It helps the channel, so I'd really be grateful. And huge shout out and thank you to my soldiers. You guys and gals are the ones that keep my content rolling, me going, and the lights glowing. So it really means the world to me to have your support. Thank you so much for everything. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Bye.